Hello, I'm Ron Baker. Welcome to Empowered at Last. Today we're going to talk about a really important subject. Not that any subject that we're talking about on this podcast is not really important in the grand scheme of creating a fulfilling life. Each facet of your life is really important to get clear about in order to get it aligned so that it's truly a part of the fulfilling vision of your life. Today we're going to talk about that vision. Today we're going to talk about the importance of having an ongoing process in your life. What does that mean? And why do I need to have an ongoing process? I get the concept, but how does it actually apply in my life? I'm asked these questions quite often. And what I say is that most people, even if the structures and routines of their lives are going rather well, when I ask this question, are you truly fulfilled? Do you love your life at the moment? Do you have a clear trajectory for your life so you know what you're moving toward, you know why it's important to you, you know how to take it step by step by step, and you know how to become more and more fulfilled? Ask that of yourself right now. Is your life truly fulfilling today? Or do you see lots of room to enhance what you're already doing well? That is what I hope you discover as your answer. It is so important that we have an ongoing process in our lives because life evolves as a process. Any skill that you learn was a process. Well, when does that process stop? I learned how to type. Once I know where to put my fingers on the keys, is that the end of the process, or could it get more and more evolved? I learned how to play golf. Well, where's the end of that process? Now that I have my grip and my swing, nothing ever has to become the end result of any process. Even if you have goals in a certain area of your life, physical, emotional, mental, sexual, spiritual. If you have goals in any of those areas, they may have a distinct end point when you have to turn something in or when that's the end of that particular focus for now. But nothing ever has to stop growing and evolving. So I ask you another question. Do you know how to continue to deepen your relationship with yourself, with your primary relationships and friendships, in your career? Do you know how? Are you in an ongoing process, clear about the approach, the tools, the trajectory, the map? Most people realize, I kind of have done step by step, figuring it out as I go, but I don't really feel clear and aligned with having a process that I am thrilled and clear and safe and confident about. This is entirely possible. So let's take an inventory, starting with your physical self. How connected to your physical self are you? How comfortable do you feel in your body? How pleased are you with the shape your body is in at the moment? These are all important questions. They reflect the process that you are in with your physical self. Do you have a process, or do you swing the pendulum this way, which says, oh, I don't feel that great about my body, so I avoid it? That's not going to serve you very well in the longevity of your life because it's certainly not going to go away. And the great news is it doesn't have to be that way. You do not have to be stuck in fear or shame around your physical body. It really has more to do with how you feel about yourself as a person, believe it or not. You could also be swinging the pendulum the other way. I go to the gym 43 times a week because I count on my physical body to become the compensation for not feeling safe with who I am on the inside. We can turn anything, physical, emotional, mental, sexual, or spiritual, into an imbalance and miss out on the celebration of who we actually are. So take an inventory about process. Do you have an ongoing process with your body? Do you treat it well? Do you eat well? Do you sleep well? Do you exercise? Do you take care of it? Do you touch it? Do you connect to yourself and feel comfortable in your physical body? If you don't, it's a clear indication of needing an ongoing process that has clear, healthy, nurturing, safe choices and a way for you to deepen your relationship to your physical self. Now we go to the emotional self. How connected are you to your own emotional energy? Did you know that every single move you make is either motivated by moving toward a feeling experience that you really want to have? Oh, I really want to feel connected and excited and adventurous and passionate and intimate and quiet and have alone time. Those are experiences. Those are feeling experiences, and we want different ones at different times in our lives. So we're either motivated by moving toward those feeling experiences, or all too often to move away from any feeling experiences we don't feel safe with. Oh, I don't think I'm going to do that because I don't want to risk that I would have to feel out of control, unsafe, that I would make mistakes, that I would be seen as less than altogether and wonderful. I don't want to be shamed or judged or... A lot of feelings run the show more than most people have ever guessed. Every single motivation of your life is either toward or away from feelings, and most people aren't even in touch with their feelings. So I would ask you to do a quick inventory of yourself. Have the courage. There is no judgment or shame about anything you discover. Can you right now in this moment name 5 feelings that are going on you right now? I'm going to be quiet for a few seconds and let you do that. Can you name them out loud? Go, play, discover. Just 5 to 10 seconds can seem like a really long time. It can feel like major dead air if you're not in touch with your emotional energy. So important. People diminish feelings all the time. They say, oh, don't let your feelings run the show. Make it logical and clear and rational. I have news for you. To squash your emotional body and overcompensate on the mental body is not that healthy and rational. It's protective, and it makes more sense than to not have anything to count on. But trust me, if you're squashing and shaming and judging your emotional energy, it has a huge impact on your life that is way less than wise. The way to have meaningful moments, let's just go to the physical body and the emotional body. The way to have meaningful moments is to be in your physical body, aware of your experience moment to moment to moment. That makes the moment specific and meaningful. Most people are not even connected to their physical bodies, much less the emotional body. More than you would realize. You couldn't have told me that 25 years ago and had me understand it, but because I spend my life focused on teaching people how to get much more connected physically and emotionally, as well as the other three, I know that it tends to be the case. So how did you do with your inventory? Are you truly in touch with your body and have a process? Are you truly in touch with your emotions and have a clear process for getting more and more connected and safe and fulfilled in meaningful moments by the depth of that experience that you're having every day? Now we move to the mental. Do you tend to be in redescription, new versions of the exact same thing that you said in your head yesterday and the day before? Scientists have proved that 90%, sometimes more, 90% of a typical person's thinking process is nothing more than a redescription on the mental hamster wheel. Why is that? Most people have decided who they are, how life is, who they have to be, what the deal is, what their routine is, and they merely re-describe it. And even if life is not fitting very well into that model, they still try to project their own re-descriptions onto life. I have news for you. That may have served you up to a certain point, but it certainly keeps a lid on the levels of freedom that your mental body can become. The mental body is meant to be present, safe to receive and perceive what's happening, inner as well as outer, using the mental body to focus in a balance of inner and outer, and then to perceive and evaluate, what do I choose? How do I want to engage? How am I going to deepen? Also, mental creativity, allowing yourself to explore into new territory is entirely possible. But not if you don't have a clear process and a clear map to interrupt with no threat, to interrupt the habitual hamster wheel of redescription. That's exhausting. Imagine 90% of your thoughts having to find some time and space. There's not much energy left for new explorations and truly perceiving newness. But without newness, we're not very fulfilled. It's sort of frozen, and I'm going to even use a dramatic way of describing it as half dead. Certainly not alive. Most of the time on a hamster wheel, we're just surviving our lives, going through the motions, and it is not fulfilling. But I don't know what to do about it. There are truly clear, nurturing, safe ways that you can become free and adventurous and fulfilled in the newness and the greater depths, greater expansions of your life with your mental body. And you add that to the physical and the emotional, and it is a profound exploration of your life, day after day, week after week, constantly growing. Most people are not in a clear ongoing process with self, so that self is discovered and evolved and deepening and getting better and better and richer. Entirely possible. But you have to have, again, a clear map and some nurturing tools so that you feel safe and clear and confident to do it. We could go on to sexual and spiritual explorations. I would ask you the same inventories. As a matter of fact, I just did an episode on how to improve your sex life, part 1. I suggest you go and watch that if you want to evaluate where you are sexually. And then spiritually, do you have a concept beyond religion? I'm not saying yes or no, good or bad, because that's just a personal choice. But beyond the repetition of what your religious habits happen to be, do you have a personal relationship with your spiritual self, your soul journey? Does that mean something to you? I hope so. There is so dang much possible if you have an ongoing process in your life. Have I hammered this enough? Have I given you enough ways to evaluate? Please celebrate where you have discovered, I have had some sense of process. Are you clear what the next layers of your vision are going to be, what you're going to move toward, what you're going to invest in, what you're going to build? There are so many ways to get in touch with these things. I provide many different courses online, such as Create a Kick-Ass Meaningful Vision for Your Life, where you can get aligned and learn how, layer by layer, with various facets of yourself. There's another one called Claiming Your Authentic Self. So important. Even if you don't do it with my processes that I teach at ronbaker.net, please find out where there's a clear, nurturing process that will help you to become intimate with yourself and intimate with your life so that you love waking up every day. Entirely possible. So please comment, leave encouragement for other people. Let me know where you are in your process with the comments below. Pass the word, please. So important that people in a world of tons and tons of options, it's so important that people hear about the things that have truly touched you, and they need to tell you about the things that have touched them so that you can work your way through the weeds of so many options. And so if this has moved you or touched you or inspired you in some way, please share it with your friends. I so want the opportunity to make a difference in people's lives. And so counting on one another, I will show up each week, and counting on you to also help passing the word would be so appreciated. So that's it for this week. The importance of having an ongoing process. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you soon. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. Before we close, I wanted to encourage a couple of things. Number one is to go to ronbaker.net. There you will find lots of clues for how you can deepen this conversation. You can also find a way to get the booklet, An Essential Guide to the 9 Nurturing Needs. This is going to be a core focus of how we're going to enhance the quality of your life from the inside out in all the episodes. So I encourage you to go there to get an overview of those 9 nurturing experiences that we all seek more than any other thing in our lives. I also want you to get involved in the conversation here. I really would like to talk about the things that are important to you, the things that you're concerned about or excited about. We live in a wacky world that is changing constantly. We need to learn to connect to ourselves, to count on ourselves, and to count on one another. So please either get involved at ronbaker.net or in the Facebook page, which is Empowered at Last with Ron Baker. I look forward to hearing from you. I look forward to deepening this conversation about life. And I close as always. Choose well, live fully, and by all means, be good to you. Have a great week.